Hi, very good evening to all of you. I hope I'm audible to you all. So, yeah, Faraz, you have your hands raised.
No, please go ahead. Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, okay. So, very good evening to all of you. On behalf of the organizing team at GIZ, we would love to welcome you all to this engaging webinar on decision support tools, financing and funding for mobility living labs. At GIZ, I am part of the Green Urban Mobility Innovation Living Lab, which is the first of its kind in an Indian context, where we are looking at providing and bringing sustainable urban mobility solutions to the forefront, piloting them and scaling them up as well. So, for those of you who have attended our previous webinars, you would know that Living Labs are transformative spaces for innovation, co creation, and community driven problem solving in urban mobility. Today, we are delving into critical enablers of decision making and financial sustainability. We have an amazing panel with us here today. We have Jose and Maria from the Center for Research and Technology, HELLAS, the Hellenic Institute of Transport. Thank you so much for your time, Jose and Maria. Today, we aim to explore tools and strategies that have empowered us and we hope will empower other mobility living labs who are taking the small steps forward today to implement and scale impactful solutions, but while also ensuring the long term financial viability as well. So, no matter what your background is, like if you're a policymaker or a transport planner or even an innovator, I'm sure that this session is definitely the first step towards building smarter and inclusive and sustainable urban cities as well. I'm definitely excited about the insights and experience that we get to share today, and really looking forward to an interactive webinar today, which would hopefully spark meaningful conversations as well as collaborations. I'd like to take this time to thank all of you for joining and wishing you all a very insightful webinar. Thank you so much. I'll now hand over to Maria, who's going to be our moderator for the sessions today. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Netu, for the warm welcome. I would like also from our part, from CERF team, to welcome you all in this webinar. Is the fourth webinar of the series that we have performed so far within this project, the Green Urban Mobility Innovation Living Lab. And today we are really excited that we will present to you decision support tools, some of the tools that we have implemented in our Mobility Living Lab here in Thessaloniki, as well as we will give you some useful insights about the financing schemes and the funding schemes in general for Mobility Living Labs. So I will share my presentation. Okay, I hope you can see the presentation.
Yes, Maria, the presentation is visible now.
Um, you can see the right screen or no? I think no.
I think you can just go to display settings and put it on slideshow mode.
Yes, give me a second because I shared the wrong screen, I think. Can you see? Oh. Okay, now is it okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. So for having a warm up, we have prepared some questions. So please either scan this QR code or access Mentimeter and using this code. I can also put the code in the chat. Okay, so the first question is if you have ever been to Thessaloniki. I can see that already we have some questions, five answers, sorry, that no, you have not ever been to Thessaloniki. Please, if you have problem in accessing the Mentimeter, please give me a sign and I can help you. Okay. So the next question is about Thessaloniki Smart Mobility Living Lab. If you know this living lab, if you ever heard about it. Okay, so I understand that some of you have already heard about our living lab in the previous webinars. So this is good because you have already an idea of what we are doing here in Thessaloniki. For those who never heard about us, we hope that we will give you some useful information today and we will have an overview of what we are doing. Okay, the next question is, it's an open question, so we want to learn about you a little bit. So from which company or organization are you working for? You can type in. Okay, so we have colleagues from Deloitte, of course, from Center for Green Mobility, from Infrastructure Development Corporation, from GFA, GIZ, of course. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So we will return to presentation. And so we will start with us. So this is CERF team. It's Dr. Georgia Ifadopoulou, who is our research director and deputy director of our institute. Josep Maria Salanova, who is a principal researcher and head of data laboratory, and me. I'm Maria. I'm research associate, and today with Josep we will be the two presenters from CERT team. So some general information about what is the Center for Research and Technology Hellas. So our center is one of the leading research institutes in Greece with important scientific and technological achievements in many areas. There are five institutes in the Center for Research and Technology, and one of these five institutes is also our institute, which is the Hellenic Institute of Transport. And in our institute also we have different laboratories, different sectors. So we are dealing with various fields, all related to transport and mobility, with infrastructure and network mobility, with non-land transport, with transport and how it can be combined with tourism. We have also horizontal activities. And always you can visit our website and the website of our Smart Mobility Living Lab to see and learn more about us. Then we have also some more questions. So the next question is if you are familiar with the concept of living labs in general. So what is a living lab, how it operates, what are the main pillars, the principles for operating a living lab? Okay, so most of you know what living labs are. Next question is about your expertise. So if you work in the mobility field. We have two answers. Maybe we can wait a little bit for more. Okay, so you are working in a mobility field, and this is nice because all the decision making tools that we will present later are related to the mobility field. So we hope that we will give you valuable information about these tools and how you can use them in your organization or company. The next question is about this webinar. So how did you hear about the webinar? If you receive an invitation from the organizer, if someone, a friend of you have invited you, or through social media. Okay, I can see that there are more than 10 people in the webinar, so please all vote, give your answer. If you have any problem in accessing the Mentimeter, please tell me and I can help. Okay, the next question is about your expectation. So what's one thing you are hoping to learn in today's session? Please have in mind that this webinar is about decision support tool, decision-making tool in mobility and about financing and funding schemes for Mobility Living Lab. So please type one thing, one expectation that you have from today's webinar. Okay, so you want to learn about the funding schemes that can support Living Lab. I think we will have an answer in this. Understanding more about the functioning of Living Labs, so we will give you some insights about the tools that are supporting the operation of the Living Labs. Okay, so the next question is if you are working with tools to support decision and policy making in mobility field. But I think this is the question for after the presentation. So, okay, we will return in presentation. I can also share in the chat the code for someone who want to scan it. Okay, so now we are proceeding with the agenda. This presentation is divided in two parts. So the first one is about the evidence-based decision-making, and it will be Josep that will present this section, and then it's about the financing and funding schemes for Mobility Living Lab, and I will jump in for giving you some information about this section. So now I will give the floor to Josep for the presentation.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Okay, so then let's go to the slides. So I will talk you about decision support system and tools, why it's important to use data, to use facts, to use evidences to support decision making. Here on the left, you have a space which can be just grass, and you have the task to create the pathways within this area. One way to do it, which is the usual way, is someone is designing. Can be an architect, an urbanist, is designing these paths based on what they think that it will be useful for the users. Then what it happens is what you have here. You have the design, but the user has another opinion. And what is interesting for this picture is that this is data. So the people passing through the grass and destroying the grass, they are creating a food. So this user experience data collection is key because being the architect, being the urbanist behind this design, you can say, okay, I should change my mind and I should create this diagonal pathway because people is asking for it. So this is analogic data, people destroying the grass, but the same happens with digital data. It's important to collect data, digital mostly, and they use this data to support decision making. And you can see the last picture is that this happens in reality. Many years ago in the Ohio University, they did exactly this. They let people walk inside the green area, the grass, and once all these pathways were user created, because people was passing through the same pathways, then they paved everything, and this is why the shapes are so strange. I don't think that these shapes would come from a design, from top-down design. They came from a bottom-up data collection. So in the next slide, Maria, in addition to data, you need a tool. You need a kind of magic ball that will give you answers. So in transport, we are used to create these models, and in the living labs, we are using them a lot because we have the data, we have the ecosystem, we have the knowledge to create these models. These models they should be quite simple in the sense that we are simplifying a complex activity. So you have the real problem. You should simplify it, highly simplify the problem, so you can create a mathematical formulation out of it. And then you can create the code for solving this problem. This means that I have a black box in which I can input a question. No, I can input data. The black box is designed to answer one concrete question. So these models cannot answer everything. They are created. The questions, they are predefined. And then this black box can give me an answer. In the next slide, I will tell you about this black box. It can be black in the sense that you may have no clue what happens inside, or it can be white in the sense that I know exactly what happens inside. At the end of the day, most of you will see this. You will not see the mathematics, you will not see the code. You will see some beautiful HMI representations of a graphic user interface where you can input the data, you can export, import the results, you can plot the data, you can visualize the data. But behind these commercial models that you can see here, what we have is a set of mathematics and programming code to solve using this data, knowing the rules to use this data to answer this question, and then giving you the answer. Next slide, Maria. So one question could be, should I implement buses in my city? Should I implement taxis in my city? Or should I implement something in between? Should I use flexible routes, DRT services, demand responsive transit services? So on the next slide, you will see how we would create a tool to answer to these questions. I need to do some assumptions. I need to do some hypotheses. And I can use this assumption and hypothesis on the top of the options that I have, option A, B, and C, to obtain the cost. We need metrics. It can be the cost, it can be emissions, it can be the demand. We need to know the metrics that we want to optimize. I may want to optimize the cost. I am the transport operator. I want to minimize my cost. I want to optimize the level of service. I am the city authority, and I want my citizens to have a very good level of service. And then within these formulas, you have the decision variables. So what are the answers of my model? I should know the spacing between stops. I should know the headway between buses. So this is how you can set up the model. So in the next slide, you will see that this this box, white or black, will give you all the metrics. So in this concrete scenario for my city with my data, I can see that service A, B, and C, all the metrics. Then I can apply a multi-criteria solving approach to say I will select service B because it's optimizing the metrics that I care about. On the next slide, you will see that this box, it can be as wide as possible, in the sense that here we have the formula that is giving us the optimum number of taxis in the case of this example. In this formula, you can see the concrete contribution of each variable. So the area of the city, how contributes to the number of taxis, the speed within the network. So I know that if I can double the speed of the taxis, meaning I can allow them to go in the bus lane, I will reduce by 4, for example, the number of taxis that I need. So being this analytical formulation give you these insights. What should I do and what will be the impact? So this is very good if you can reach this level because you can read the solution. It's not about numbers. It's about the variables and how they interact. So what can we say here? That I will need less taxis with a city with a higher speed and a less operation cost. And this relation is linear. Double the speed, half the taxis. I will need more taxis when my customers have a higher value of time, or my city is less chaotic. So it's easy to navigate the city. And again, this is linear. So double the value of time, double the number of taxis. Next slide, Maria. In some models, this box will be black in the sense that if I am using data-driven optimization, machine learning, or other algorithms to solve, I would never have this analytical formula. So I can have the results, I can have the input, but I don't know how this input it ends into results. But still, I can plot, I can create some sensitivity analysis to see the impact of changing any of the variables. And then the last slide of this part is about commercial softwares in which it's easier to use, they are more robust, but in these softwares it's good if you know how they work. But you would usually not have access to all these mathematical formulations, sensitivity analysis, and everything. But still, if you're using this, you can PTP, EMSAN, Cube, Sumo, if you're using these models, it's good that you know at least the hypothesis, the assumptions, because this is a black box. You give an input, you have an output. But if the output is not what you were expecting, and is 10 times higher, if you know the assumptions, you have the opportunity to explain why. Because this model is having this assumption, which in my case doesn't apply, or I should correct something. So it's good if you know the background of the models with regard to assumptions, hypotheses, and simplifications. Then in the next set of slides, Maria, you can go to the next one. I will tell you that in Thessaloniki, in our living lab, we are feeding the ecosystem with this kind of models, this kind of data analysis, this kind of results to help them taking decisions. It can be private, it can be public. Here you have the decision theater. We have a set of screens, in total 15. We have these 13 and 2 more. And these screens, when we have visits, we show the screens, we show the data sets, we show the results, we show the insights, we visualize. The best way to show data, to communicate the data, is by visualizing. You can plot maps, you can plot graphs in time, and then you can show that, okay, this is what's happening. These are the problems. This is the quantity of the problems. And then we have these tools that can solve it this way. So the models are giving us the what if. If we do this, we will have this impact, so we will reduce this metric, this problem. On the next slide, Maria. This is an example. This is a tool we did for the 15 minutes cities in movement, in which we check if Thessaloniki is such a city. So in every single intersection of the city, we see if we have all the city amenities in this 15 minutes access radius. And then we can ask to the tool, where do I need economic facilities? So the tool is telling me that you need more banks, you need more economic facilities, amenities into these locations. So I am helping the real estate here. In the next slide, Maria. Then we are validating that the results of the 15 minutes. So we have the city amenities and we have the population. So on the left, we put the population housing data, so the density of people living in each area, on the top of the colors. The green color means that I have everything. I am a 15-minute city. The yellow color, it says that I am almost a 15-minute city. And indeed, we see that the highest density areas in the city, they are on the green and the yellow colors. So it makes sense because the amenities will be where people live. But then we also validate with more dynamic data because that people live there doesn't mean that they stay in the area. So we use telecom data to see where people living in the city, where are they going. So we can see that people in small communities, if they stay in this community during the whole day, or if they go out. So we're validating with static and dynamic data. And this is what the Living Lab can do, because we had the data from telcos, we had the data from population, we had the model, we had the data from the amenities. We are putting all together. On the last slide, Maria, next slide of this part, you will see some pictures of our visitors. We are hosting technical visits from universities. We have projects, we have collaborations. On the left, you can see university from China. But on the right, we are inviting, or we are being asked to invite politicians. You can see here our prime minister, our governor of the region of Central Macedonia, and they are coming to us. And then it's our opportunity to show to them what we do, but what are the problems of the city and how we can help in solving them. This is also part of the Living Lab. We should talk to the policy makers. We should show to them that we are there. We have the tools, we have the data to help you in decision making. If not you directly, but the people in your place that will take the decisions. Next slide, Maria. And then here I will present the values for the different members of the ecosystem. So for example, we use the taxis to create knowledge about the traffic congestion patterns, but also the mobility patterns. So we are creating a value for research in the sense that we have a database with mobility patterns and congestion patterns, which is really interesting for us. Next slide. Again, from our second set of data set, which is Bluetooth detectors, we create exactly the same. We track devices in the city and we create travel times and also mobility patterns. So for research, our value is that we have a very good understanding of mobility patterns, traffic and travel time congestion patterns, which we made available, most of it with our open data portal. This means that universities academy can make use of it. Next slide, Maria. We also create value in the sense of the broader data set we have. We have data about shared mobility, we have data about micro-mobility, we have data about parking. So we are also giving this data as part of the open data to the communities, scientific community, so they can use this data. And this is how they can create value, they can create decision-making insights using our data. Next slide, Maria. We have sensors where we have our traffic counts, we have the telecom data. So all this data is creating a good understanding of the mobility context in the city, the mobility needs. Next slide, Maria. And next slide, I told you about the 15-minute cities. So for policymakers or for public institutions, we're using not the raw data, but the analyzed data. In this case, the local police, we're helping them, giving them congestion data in predefined locations. So they decide if I will send someone or I will not send anyone to fix the situation. On the next slide, we have the city itself. The city is a policymaker that should decide what to do with the urban space. Should I give it to the scooters, to the bicycles, to the restaurants, to the garbage collection? Whom should be owning my space? And we created a tool supporting decision-making on this sense, which help to the cities to understand if they want to have bicycles, how many bicycles, how many stations for the bicycles, how to operate it. We also create these maps to show in the center in which they say that we say that the optimum number of stations is 10. But if you want to double the number of stations, there will be an impact. Who will pay for it? The operator. And who will benefit from it? The user. And we can tell to them that the operator should pay double, should pay 10% more. But the user will benefit from 10% less waiting or access time. So all these insights are helping the cities into the co-creation, into putting in the table private, public, people, citizens, and telling to them, okay, we will do a policy for the bikes. We plan to do 100 stations. If we do 150, this means that you will walk on average 1 minute less. But the operator, this guy, will pay 10,000 more euros per week. So this can stimulate all the discussion between the ecosystem members. Next slide, Maria. Share micromobility. We created a platform that helps the city to create micromobility policy. They can just click, create a polygon, and say, into this polygon, there is no parking allowance. There is no access allowance, or another kind of restrictions or alerts. And then all the shared mobility users will be informed automatically of this new regulation, and we will monitor and collect infractions. Anyone overspeeding, anyone accessing illegal areas, we will monitor, we will collect it so the city can see the compliance of the rules and they can change it. And even the operator can close the bicycle or the electric scooter if they are entering an area that it's not allowed. Next slide, Maria. We are helping also the traffic managers. We have the data from the taxis, the data from the Bluetooth, cameras and everything. So we can create dashboards that tell to them how the city is going with regards to traffic, average speed, average travel time. We can compare different weeks to see if we did a measure, we put more police in the streets, what was the impact of it. So it's not about taking decisions, it's about monitoring the impact of the decisions. This is why the Living Lab is there, having the data and helping the city. Once you take the decision based on my data, I have the data also to monitor the impacts of this decision, which the impacts that I expected to happen, I can see if they happen or not. They are more or they are less. Next slide, Maria. We're also helping the city to monitor emissions in the same exact sense. We have our city cars, vehicles, buses, motorcycles. We have the buildings. Everyone is polluting. So we help the city, and since we have the data, we created a platform in which the city can monitor emissions. If they decide to change something in the buses, they can see what's the impact. So I added 10 more electric buses to my fleet. Let's see the impact of the emissions over time after my purchase of new buses. I changed the traffic, the lights on the public lighting. I put LEDs. Let's see what's the percentage of the reduction of the consumption of this traffic lighting. So you see the importance both of helping decision making, but also helping them to monitor the impact of this decision making. Next, Maria. This is also part of this tool. We can help them into taking the decision how to invest. In this slide, you can see that they are asking us how to invest 19 million euros. And we state to them, you should use 4 million for LED lamps in the public lighting, 6.5 million for solar panels, 6.5 million for recycling. So we distribute the amount of money, maximizing the impact. You see that the 4 million of LED lights will have an impact of 8,000 tons of CO2, while a higher investment in solar panels, 6.5 million, it has a little bit more of impact. So we're prioritizing the highest impact ratio measurements so they can have the best impact with the smallest amount of money. Next slide, Maria. Businesses. We saw research, academia. We saw public authorities. Now we go to the private. We're helping the private companies. We have a cluster in which most of the companies in Greece are participating. And within the cluster, we help them to share the data. We collect the data, we make it available through a neutral platform. Next slide, Maria. So they can take advantage of this data. I think one left. Okay. They can take advantage of this platform in which they collect, they can see more data, and we also gave to them new, we transfer our knowledge. So we help them into improving their facilities. For example, we did dynamic pricing for the parkings. We did the neutral platform so they can have access to data for any kind of mobility solution. Next slide, Maria. We also created a platform to monitor emissions from logistics, which was really that the city was needing. Next slide. And then after businesses, we have also, for the businesses, we have also our open data portal. So they can access our open data portal to have historical data or real-time data, and they can improve their services using this data. And next slide, Maria. And this is also value for the citizens. Citizens, citizen science. So they can also access the open data portal, make use of this data for citizen science, for anything they would need. We're also giving traffic information to citizens, so they can see in real time the status of the traffic, just like Google in the city, in different sections of the city, and they can take decisions being informed about it. So they will take better decisions. Next slide. Routing services. We are giving to them innovative routing services for pedestrians. It's not about the shortest route. It's about the lowest crowded route. I don't want to find people on my road. This was when COVID was with us. We thought that maybe someone wants to walk in empty streets. Pollution aware route. Cities are quite polluted. Some cities in China have many pollution. So I can try to send people into the streets with the less pollution possible. Flattest route. Sometimes the flattest route is fastest than the shortest because you are walking faster. And then we can also have a land use route in the sense that it's night. I want to pass through open shops, 24/7 shops. So I will feel safer. Next slide, Maria. Real estate, you saw this example. We are helping real estate how to invest to improve our city, but also citizens can see, I want to live in an area where I have everything close to me, so they can use this platform to find a place where to live. Next slide, Maria. Citizens app. We are putting all this knowledge, all these data sets in one app, and this is the app that people can use to navigate the city, to receive information about traffic lights, about everything, but also to give us information so we know what are the mobility patterns. Next slide. So it's important to see that we are having an impact. And this is the slide in which we put some numbers in the sense that we have sensors, we have tens, hundreds, thousands of locations we monitor, we follow. We have members in the ecosystem, more than 30 in the Living Lab and more than 35 in the cluster. So we have the key actors part of what we do. So they talk to us, they collaborate with us. We are getting value in the sense of services for everyone. We have services for public authorities, for citizens. We have many routes, bus stops, seconds. We are there. You can see what we do on our streets. And finally, what is the impact of all of this? So we have many pilots, many projects happening, but most important, we have citizens using them. We have people being engaged in our projects, but people accessing all these services. We talk about, maybe for India, this is a small number, but for Thessaloniki, this is a good number. 13,000, more than 13,000 users, unique users of our services. Next slide, Maria. So this is about decision-making tools, data feeding them, data monitoring these decisions, and various examples that we are implementing at Thessaloniki. So now I give the floor to Maria. She will talk about how to we'll have some questions, but then at the end, Maria will continue with how to finance, how to fund all this infrastructure.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. So now we have some relevant questions to this section, to the decision support tool that Joseph just presented. So again, please scan the QR code or go to Mendy.com and use this code that I have already put in the chat. So now the question is if you are already working with tools to support decision and policy making in mobility field. I can see that some of you have already answered that no, but you agree that these kind of tools are needed. Please go to Menti and give more answers. So I can see one answer that you are already working with data analysis tools in mobility field. Okay, so it's quite encouraging that none of you thinks that these kind of tools are not needed. Okay, so next question is what do you consider the biggest barrier to implementing decision support tools in mobility living labs? So there are quite a lot of barriers. Some of them are presented here. So these kind of tools have high cost of technology and software, or because there is a lack of technical expertise in the people that are working in the living labs, or it's about data privacy and security, or limited access to real-time or reliable data. Okay, so it's about the cost of technology and the access to real-time data. The access to real-time data is always a problem. We have already provided a webinar about open data, so you can search for this webinar and learn more about the open data and how we can access them. Okay, the next question is about your experience. So what is the primary benefit that you think the use of data-driven decision-making tools have in urban mobility project? So it's about improving traffic management, about better understanding of environmental impact, about enhancing the public transportation planning, or about empowering and increasing citizen engagement and satisfaction. So I think that all of them are correct, but what do you think is the primary benefit? This is the question. So it's about traffic management. I can understand because in October I visited India and also there is a huge problem of traffic management. Okay, and about public transportation. Okay. Then the next question is about the decision support tools and if you think that they should be tailored specifically for each city or they should be standardized for a broader use. Of course, always what we tell about these tools is that, of course, there are some tools, some best practices that we can adopt from other cities or other regions, other living labs, but it is always essential to adjust these tools to the specific context of our city. So I think you answered this. So a combination of tailored and standardized elements. Next question is if your city, your region has the optimal capacity to use tools similar to the ones that Jose presented before in order to support decision and policy making. Okay, so most of you answered that you need capacity building programs and trainings to be able to use these tools. And I think also this presentation will be shared by our colleagues to all of you. So maybe you can show again, you can see again these examples that Jose gave to you before. And of course, you can also visit our website for more information about these tools. And okay, this is another question for funding. Okay, so now I'm returning to the presentation, and this is the part about the financing and funding schemes for mobility living labs. So, why funding is important for a mobility living lab? I think that there is no need to explain why a living lab needs money, but just a general statement about this. It's easily understandable that funding is an indispensable element in order to ensure that the living lab will have sustainable and impactful business model that will deliver added value to a large group of different stakeholders. As I presented before in the Salonic Smart Mobility Living Lab, this is what we try to do. We try to create added value for different target groups, for different groups of stakeholders. So for policymakers, for municipality, for citizens, for transport operators, and others. So in various cities and regions, living labs commonly rely on a mosaic of funding sources. So not just one funding source, but a combination of different funding sources that ranging from public grants to governmental support mechanisms. So the most common funding sources for mobility living labs are, of course, those that are coming from public sectors. So, for example, the EU funds like the Horizon Europe programs, but also we have the municipality and the region that provide funding to mobility living labs. So many cities, many local administration and regional administration allocate funds to living labs in order to develop urban mobility projects and to improve transportation in the city. We have also the partnership between the public and private sectors. So it is quite common that the public sector collaborate with private enterprises, so with transport operators, specifically in mobility, in order to allow these companies, the private stakeholders, to develop and implement an urban mobility project. Then we have the private sector investment. So we have a lot of technology providers and mobility companies that are willing and interested in co-funding living lab initiatives and projects that are aligned with their business plans, their business models. And last but not least, we have revenue generation models. So we have sometimes living labs can generate, let's say, funding on their own. So they can generate revenue through consulting services, through providing specialized services and products to private companies. The most challenging thing here in ensuring funding is that on global scale, the living labs have limited ability to generate revenue on their own from private markets. So how to ensure funding? This requires a strategic pivot from living labs, so they need to think about and create a unique value proposition in order to drive innovation and addressing social challenges. efficiently. So this process, during this process, the Living Lab should identify the specific needs and challenges within the local innovation ecosystem. They have to understand about the dynamics, the relationships between the different actors of the ecosystem. They have to identify the value proposition of each specific target group, and they try to create strategic collaboration between the different groups and the different stakeholders. Of course, the Living Lab should examine the benefits and the enablers and the barriers of the different funding models in order to let's say choose the most suitable one or the combination of the most suitable one. And then the Living Labs should foster a collaboration between public and private entities. Here you can see the liaison business model canvas. I don't know if you are familiar with this canvas. So this canvas is created by Juan Bertolin. And it is tailored to the needs and objectives of Living Lab. So each Living Lab can use this canvas in order to identify the problems, the key activities, which is the value proposition that they want to offer to its specific target group. And of course, they can identify from the very beginning their costs and what are their revenue streams. So I want to encourage all of you that you are working in this Living Lab field to use this canvas, because it's really helpful in identifying and designing the business model and your funding and finance scheme. So in Thessaloniki Smart Mobility Living Lab, in principle, our Living Lab is a project-fund laboratory. This means that we are working on different projects and the funding is coming from this project. So, for example, we applied for a Horizon Europe from an EU funding project. We have success. So we try to implement this project and take funding from there. So our financial resources, about 80 to 90% are coming from this kind of funding. So from European, national, regional, and local funding, and a small percent, and about 10 to 20% is coming from private funds from industry. However, we are trying to ensure that we have a continuous flow of funded projects in order to ensure our financial sustainability. And this is achieved through some specific actions. So we are continuously updating our infrastructure and equipment. We are trying to have a core team that bring diverse expertise, knowledge, and experience. And one of the most important things is the ecosystem. So it's not that we have an ecosystem and we are always working with them, but we try to enrich continuously our network, our local and regional ecosystem, in order to create new partnership with new stakeholders. This was my part about funding and finance. It was quite short, but the important thing is that there is not a generic statement for all Living Labs, but each Living Lab should identify a specific finance and funding scheme that is aligned with its business plan and will ensure its sustainability. So the last set of questions is about this part of finance and funding. Okay, so the question is if you or your organization has ever applied for any funding specific to mobility or sustainability project. It's the same QR code, so you can go again there and continue answering.
Μαρία, πήγαινε γρήγορα, έχουν μείνει 2 άτομα μόνο μέσα, κλείστο.
Okay, next question is about the most significant challenge in securing funding for mobility living labs. So what do you think is the most significant challenge in securing funding? Okay, so the limited awareness of the lab. I think we have limited answers, but in any case, the Mentimeter will remain open for anyone who wants to answer the question after the webinar. And then the last question is about the strategy. So which strategy would you consider most effective for securing ongoing funding for a mobility living lab? So building partnership with private companies, developing strong business model, or securing long-term government funding? Okay, so two of you think about the long-term government funding. Okay, and I think this was the last question. Yes. So I will stop sharing my screen and maybe I will give the floor to you if you have any question. Okay, no question. In any case, you can contact us by email if you need more information or if you want to discuss something with us. So thank you all. I don't know if someone from the co-organizer wants to say something or we have to close the webinar now.
I think we can close the webinar, Maria.
Yeah, thank you, Jose. Thank you, Maria, so much for taking out time on a Friday. And yes, I'm sure if, like you mentioned, if there are any questions or any queries, they'll either reach out to us or you, and we'll make sure that we connect them to you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.
Bye.